The infinite scroll and the myth of Sisyphus. Have you ever wondered why endless scrolling feels so much like running in place? Your thumb moves, the content refreshes, but nothing sticks. It's 2 a.m. and you're caught in a loop. TikTok, dances, Instagram reels, tweets screaming into the void. Each swipe is a tiny rebellion against sleep, against stillness. But beneath the flicker, there's a deeper rhythm here, one that echoes a 3,000-year-old myth. Albert Camus, the philosopher of the absurd, called it the myth of Sisyphus. Gen Z? They're living it. Camus told the story of Sisyphus, a king cursed by the gods to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity. Each time he nears the top, the rock tumbles back, forcing him to begin anew. It's a metaphor for life's absurdity. We crave purpose, but the universe offers none. No grand scoreboard, no cosmic applause, just the rock, the hill. Repeat. Camus asked, how do we survive this? His answer, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not because he wins, but because he chooses to keep going. He finds freedom in accepting the futility. Now imagine Sisyphus's boulder as Gen Z's infinite scroll. The boulder is everything that loops without resolution. Climate doom, algorithmic echo chambers, a gig economy that grinds like a treadmill. You wake up, check the news, and the same crises glare back. War, inflation, extinction. You post, you hashtag, you donate, and the boulder rolls down again. Camus called this the absurd, the human need for meaning crashing against life's indifference. But here's the twist Gen Z understands. The absurd isn't a bug, it's a feature. Why meme about the apocalypse? Why dance to remixes of It's Corn while wildfires rage? Because absurdism isn't surrender, it's alchemy. It's laughing at the void until the void laughs with you. Camus wrote, the struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. Gen Z fills theirs with inside jokes. They turn doom scrolls into collaborative art, nihilist memes with glitter text, existential dread paired with lo-fi beats. The act of creation becomes the meaning. The rock never stops rolling, but they've glued googly eyes to it. Think of the viral trend where users film themselves pretending to be a main character while mundanity unfolds around them. A barista smiles into the camera. Plot twist, the latte art is mid and I'm still the star. It's Sisyphus claiming authorship of his story. The universe may not care, but the act of framing, filtering, and posting is a whisper. I exist, I matter, even here. Yet there's a danger here. Camus warned that absurd joy isn't ignorance, it's staring into the dark and deciding to light a match. Gen Z's match is irony. They've mastered the art of holding two truths at once. Everything's on fire, and this song slaps. It's why dark academia aesthetics thrive. Photos of dusty books in rainy libraries, tagged studying for a future that won't exist. The beauty isn't in the delusion, but in the dance between hope and despair. Next time you find yourself scrolling past midnight, ask, what's your boulder, and what would it mean to push it playfully? Because here's the secret Camus knew and Gen Z remixed. The rock was never the enemy. The myth isn't about the hill. It's about the hands that keep pushing. And maybe, just maybe, those hands deserve a snack break. The labyrinth of control and letting go. There's a peculiar power in realizing the maze has no exit. Gen Z knows this better than any generation before them. They inherited a labyrinth, student debt coiled like thorned vines, a climate crisis thickening the air, an economy where hustle culture leads only to burnout. The walls are rigged, the rules scribbled in invisible ink. So they do something radical. They stop searching for the exit. Instead, they sit. They breathe. They plant seeds in the cracks. Albert Camus wrote of the absurd hero, one who confronts the impossibility of escape and decides, no, I will not play your game. For Gen Z, this isn't apathy. It's strategy. Quiet quitting? It's Sisyphus setting boundaries. I'll push the rock, but only from 9 to 5. The gig worker delivering groceries on an electric scooter. They're Odysseus, dodging sirens named 5-star ratings and surge pricing. The maze doesn't vanish, but its hold weakens when you laugh at its blueprint. Consider the viral trend of bedrotting, a deliberate embrace of doing. Nothing in a world that demands everything. Critics call it laziness. Camus would call it revolt. By rejecting the myth of endless growth, Gen Z mirrors his words. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. They've traded the rat race for a slower stranger. Dance thrifting clothes to defy fast fashion, hosting apocalypse potlucks, or turning abandoned parking lots into skate parks. The maze shrinks when you redefine the goal. But here's the paradox. Letting go of control is control. By accepting they can't fix systemic collapse, Gen Z frees themselves to build smaller, wilder futures. Mutual aid networks bloom. In Discord servers, climate anxiety becomes collaged memes. Earth fronted and hotter, my outfit tend to get cooler. Even the act of screenshotting a rent hike and captioning it LOL is alchemy. Despair transmuted into dark humor. Camus called this the gentle indifference of the world. Gen Z replied, "We can be gentle too. Watch us." Digital spaces become their own labyrinths. Algorithms herd users toward rage bait and doom scrolls, but Gen Z subverts the maze. They flood TikTok with surreal edits. Shrek as Nietzsche, Barbie reenacting The Stranger. They turn comment sections into poetry slams. Every ironic slay and it's giving is a breadcrumb trail, a way to signal, I see you in now. The chaos, let's get lost together. This isn't giving up, it's reclaiming. When traditional milestones, a home, a career, a stable planet, feel like myths, Gen Z invents new metrics. Joy measured in Spotify playlists, legacy built in meme archives. They've read Camus's warning, you will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of, and decided happiness isn't a destination, it's the detour, the unplanned picnic at the maze's center, the rock left rolling while they nap in its shadow. Memes as modern parables. Imagine if Plato's cave was lit by smartphone screens, the shadows on the wall? Memes, endlessly recycled, remixed, reborn. To outsiders, they're just jokes. But Gen Z knows better. A meme is a mirror, distorted. Yes, but one that reflects a shared truth. Life is too absurd to take seriously, so why not laugh until it makes sense? For centuries, parables taught us how to live. Aesop's fables warned against greed. Zen koans teased the mind into enlightenment. Today, memes do the same work, with a twist of irony. Take the NPC Wojak, a blank-faced figure trapped in a loop of mundane tasks. It's Sisyphus as a minimum-wage worker, nodding to Camus' question, is life worth living? These memes answer, IDK, but check out this discount code. It's philosophy for the attention deficit age, profound truths wrapped in clown makeup. Why pair existential dread with a dance trend? Because absurdism thrives on juxtaposition. Camus wrote that the absurd arises when our need for clarity collides with the world's unreasonable silence. Memes weaponize that silence. They scream, "Nothing matters" in Comic Sans, or set doomsday headlines to a vaporwave beat. The humor isn't deflection, it's defiance. A way to say, if the universe won't explain itself, we'll write the script ourselves. Consider the viral NPC streamer trend. Gamers live-stream themselves pretending to be non-playable. Characters repeating scripted lines with robotic emptiness. It's a parody of late-stage capitalism, workers as soulless avatars, but also a wink at Camus' mechanical life. By playing the role too well, they expose the absurdity of the system. The comments flood with "same, bestie," and NPC solidarity. Laughter becomes solidarity. The void gets a little smaller. Yet memes aren't just commentary, they're coping mechanisms. The existential crisis speedrun trend, where users mock their own spirals with hyper-edit cuts, turns anxiety into art. Camus argued that creation is the only way to justify existence, and Gen Z creates relentlessly TikTok duets, AI-generated fanfic, reaction GIFs that morph into hieroglyphs. Each meme is a tiny rebellion, a flare shot into the digital night. I'm here, I'm confused, let's be confused together. But there's danger here. Camus warned that absurd joy risks slipping into nihilism. There is no sun without shadow. Gen Z's memes walk that edge. The doomer-bloomer dichotomy, posting "We're so back" alongside "It's so over," captures the tension. Yet even in the oscillation, there's meaning. As one viral tweet put it, "If life's a joke, I'm the punchline." And the laugh track. Memes are ephemeral by design. They burn bright, fade, and resurrect in new forms. Like oral myths, they mutate with each retelling. The "this is fine" dog first mocked denial. Now it's a mascot for climate activists. Surreal memes, with their Dali-esque randomness, become Rorschach tests for collective anxiety. Camus wrote, "The absurd mind has but one certainty, the collision." Memes are that collision, freeze-framed and set to music. Next time you send a meme, ask, what parable are you passing on? What truth are you bending into an inside joke? Because in the end, absurdism isn't about answers, it's about learning to speak the universe's nonsense language fluently. The quiet revolution, dancing in the ruins. Revolution doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the sound of a skateboard grinding over a "no loitering" sign. Sometimes it's 1,000 strangers Venmoing $5 to a mutual aid fund. Gen Z's rebellion isn't etched in manifesto. It's scribbled in the margins. A quiet insistence that even if the world is ending, we'll still throw a good goodbye party. Albert Camus wrote that, "In the midst of winter, I found there was, within me, an invincible summer." Gen Z's summer isn't naive optimism. It's a stubborn refusal to let despair have the last word. Take the climate crisis. They've read the reports. They know the odds. Yet they march, they blockade, they sue governments, not because they believe they'll win, but because the act itself is the meaning. Camus called this living without appeal, building bridges even as the floodwaters rise. Absurdism for Gen Z isn't a philosophy, it's a toolkit. When systems crumble, they pivot. They turn abandoned malls into roller skating rinks. They transform TikTok into a classroom for queer history. They hack 3D printers to make eco-bricks from plastic waste. Each act whispers, "Your collapse? Our playground." It's Sisyphus realizing the boulder's weight can compact trash into something useful. The god said, "eternal punishment." He said, "recycling program." But this revolution isn't just in the streets. It's in the quiet moments. A friend saying, "Text me when you get home" after a panic attack. A non-binary teen correcting pronouns in a Zoom meeting. A fan fiction writer rewriting Romeo and Juliet with therapy and happy endings. Camus argued that the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Gen Z's freedom lives in these choices, to care fiercely in a world that rewards detachment. Critics say, call them lazy, delusional, too online. But Gen Z knows something the algorithms don't. Small acts compound. A community garden feeds a neighborhood and sequesters carbon. A viral thread about mental health becomes a lifeline for thousands. Even bedrotting, mocked as indulgence, is sabotage against grind culture. Camus wrote, "The struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart." Gen Z fills theirs with micro-utopias, Spotify playlists as time capsules, Instagram archives as digital shrines, fan art as love letters to survival. Yet this revolution has a paradox at its core. To dance in the ruins, you must first admit the ruins exist. Gen Z does this unflinchingly. They document their meltdowns in mental health check TikToks. They host apocalypse potlucks, where recipes include grandma's pie, and rations chic. It's Camus' authentic life, refusing to look away from the absurd but refusing to let it dictate their rhythm. As one viral tweet put it, "The planet's dying, capitalism is a pyramid scheme, and I'm making my crush a playlist." We contain multitudes. Perhaps the quietest rebellion is this. Gen Z has stopped waiting for permission to exist. They've discarded the old world's metrics of success, corner offices, nuclear families, picket fences, and invented their own. Happiness is a split screen, climate doom on one side, a Mario Kart race on the other. Legacy is a meme that outlives them. Camus wrote, "You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life." Gen Z isn't searching. They're building, not for forever, but for now. The mirror of the absurd, finding yourself in the void. There's a moment late at night when the noise fades, just you, the void, and the question, who am I if the universe won't tell me? Gen Z stares into this abyss daily. Climate alerts, pinging, timelines scrolling into infinity, identities shifting like sand. But here's the miracle. They don't look away. Instead, they lean closer and find themselves staring back. Albert Camus wrote that the absurd is a mirror, forcing us to confront the wild and wondrous task of self-creation. Gen Z knows this intimately. They've grown up digitizing their souls, curating Instagram aesthetics, switching pronouns in bios, role-playing as elves in Discord servers. Each profile, each avatar, is a rebellion, a refusal to be pinned down by a world that demands simplicity. "I'm not a noun, I'm a verb," their bios whisper, a work in progress, glitching beautifully. Consider the rise of silly, little guy culture, meme accounts celebrating the joy of being unremarkably yourself. A frog in a bucket hat captions, "Existing is my main character arc." It's Camus' absurd hero in a snapback, finding freedom not in grand answers, but in the absurdity of the question. When traditional labels, career, gender, even species feel suffocating, Gen Z invents new ones. Void punk, heavenly rat creature, chaotic neutral. They treat identity like an open-source code, fork it, remix it, share it freely. But this self-creation isn't escapism, it's survival. In a world where 78% of Gen Z reports chronic anxiety, absurdism becomes a lifeline. They joke about dissociating through the apocalypse while organizing mutual aid drives. They post CPTSD memes with trigger warnings and heart emojis. Camus warned that the absurd is born of the collision between human need and the unreasonable silence of the world. Gen Z's response? Let's crash louder. Even their humor is a mirror. The viral trend of trauma dumping into AI chatbots. "Hey Siri, am I lovable?" turns existential dread into communal catharsis. Memes about existential speed runs and NPC vibes aren't nihilism. They're maps, guides for navigating a world where adulthood feels like a glitchy RPG. As Camus wrote, "You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life." Gen Z isn't looking. They're building meaning from the debris, crafting collages of self that are messy, mutable, and unapologetically alive. In the end, absurdism isn't a philosophy, it's a dance. A daily choice to say yes and to life's plotless. Improv, to find joy in the why, to treat the void not as an enemy, but a collaborator. When Gen Z posts, "I'm cringe, but I'm free," they're channeling Camus' ultimate truth. The point is to live, to push the boulder, then paint it neon, to scream into the abyss, then remix the echo into a beat. Sleep well, the void will keep your seat warm